There is a saying going around that gaming is dead, especially in the year 2023. But I'm going to give you a list of reasons why gaming went underground and is not dead. It's thriving, actually. To start, AAA gaming is dead in the year 2023. Games are being recycled and remade poorly, full of bugs. Brand new games that are being released that are called AAA are being put into the world in what the developers call a finished state, but truly the games are almost unplayable, unoptimized, and even with the best graphics cards, technology, top tier consoles, these games are flawed, full of bugs, and don't run at normal frames per second. So the people that say gaming is dead in the year 2023 are accurate in terms of AAA games. But here are a bunch of areas where games are not dead, starting with emulators and retro games. People say that all modern movies that release nowadays are not worth watching. But the old classics are still there, and the same goes for gaming. Getting into retro consoles and collecting, or even emulation, you will have a lot of fun, especially if you've never played some of these amazing games from the golden era. Emulators in 2023 have never worked better. You have multiple options for whatever console you choose to emulate, all the way up until PlayStation 3. Even Xbox and Xbox 360 emulators are doing much better in the year of our Lord, 2023. You can easily do a Google search for ROMs or ISOs, and you can legally, quote unquote, acquire games that you've bought in the past, licensing that you own already. Hint, hint. Nudge, nudge. But all jokes aside, emulators are a great area of gaming that's still alive, still intact, and retro gaming lives on. The second area on our list of gaming that lives and lives fully is modding and the modding scene. Every game and every genre that you like has a modding scene, more so on PC. Yes, there are mods on consoles, but the forefront of this realm of gaming is on PC. You have mods for games like even Call of Duty. Classic Modern Warfare Call of Duty has modded private servers that you can play to this day. Multiplayer. Games like Skyrim, over 10 years old, have mega modding scenes recreating whole worlds, and other Elder Scrolls games like Skyblivion, which is the entire Oblivion game in the Skyrim engine. Or even Skywind, which is the Morrowind game being recreated in Skyrim's engine. Mods add extreme value to a game. Let's take an amazing game like Project Zomboid, an indie game which we're going to talk about indie games in the next subject of this rant. Take a $20 game like Project Zomboid, and with mods you can extend that game's life into the hundreds of dollar range. Hundreds of hours spent on it, all different mods, and now with modded servers, you could play everything from the stalker genre of games now that are in modded form. Modded stalker servers like Shadow of Chernobyl in Project Zomboid. You have all sorts of mods that extend this game's longevity, and every game that has mods, this does. And you can have games within games within games that these modders make, and for the most part are usually free. Now let's jump into another topic, indie gaming. Indie gaming is where gaming lives on. That's where the innovation takes place. That's where new features, new ideas are being brewed up. It's not in the AAA gaming sphere, it's in indie gaming. Take any genre that you like, from boomer shooters to RPGs to survival games, farming simulators, and the indie area of gaming is thriving right now. Games that have been developed for over 10 years, like Exanima. These games are passion projects of their development. Sometimes they're made by one person that just wants to create a game that they love playing. They're not even in it for the money. You are going to find games like this in the indie genre of gaming. And indie games are releasing on console more and more and more. If you're somebody that just plays Call of Duty, AAA games, EA Sports, and you don't play indie games and you say gaming is dead, you are part of the problem. Go play some indie games today. Another area where gaming is blowing my mind is open source games. This is kind of like modding, but really it's people that are developing games on GitHub or similar systems that it's open source. You could see what they're doing. They have everything from open source Roller Coaster Tycoon to open source XCOM, UFO Defense. Everything you can imagine is now going open source. They're creating their own code, but remaking old games to the T. Sometimes this benefits complete performance overhauls, optimization, things you could do in these open source games you can't do in the original. For example, OPENMW is the open source Morrowind that I highly recommend playing because there are frame rate limits removed, the fog in the game is gone, render distance is near infinite. You can crank it up that you can look almost realistically, like a mile or two into the horizon. You could see the entire city of Vivek from any point in Vivek. It is a fantastic open source game. And because of that, mods are more compatible. There are huge amounts of mods for open source Morrowind that are not on normal Morrowind. Open source games have lasted for over 20 years. Games like Space Station 13, which is an amazingly elaborate, deep survival round-based game where you survive with other real players on a space station with different jobs, different intricate tasks, and huge amounts of emerging gameplay detail. This game only exists because of the open source nature and the coders, and I call them modders. They're not really modding anything. They're building a game from scratch. But the coders, the developers, all community-based. Open source gaming is where gaming lives on. And finally, a bonus area where gaming is being archived, cataloged, and kept almost in a historic nature. And I'm being very elaborate here. But this kind of goes back to the modding, private servers we talked about briefly. But I want to emphasize that private server gaming is truly amazing. And this falls into private server MMORPGs, anything you could think of from Ultima Online to World of Warcraft, every single different iteration of that game, every different patch, from Wrath of the Lich King to Cataclysm, you could play on a private server. That just means going to their website, Googling private server WoW, private server Ultima Online. There's even private server Asheron's Call, Phantasy Star Online. Anything you could think of has a private modded server. Even games like Splinter Cell Chaos Theory, Spy vs. Merc, people are using Discord, using over the internet LAN, and doing multiplayer games. It is fantastical. But that being said, don't listen to people that say gaming is dead. They are right in terms of AAA gaming, but I disagree that gaming in its entirety is dead. That is not true. Gaming lives on. Let me know what you think down in the comments below. Give me your opinion. Let me know if you liked the video by hitting a thumbs up. Subscribe for more awesome gaming content, and I'll catch you all later.